Hello, everybody. So today I want to talk about my best network effect stock. Why do I love network effect stocks and network effects as a moat in general? Because it is one of the moats that is the toughest to disrupt once that moat is established. People are going to keep using Facebook going forward, even if Facebook is not the best social media app. People are going to keep speaking English going forward, even if English may not be the most straightforward or easiest language. It doesn't matter. A network effect has tremendous staying power and stays on for a very, very long time. Look at the network of roads in Europe. The roads, they were, for many of them, established more than 2,000 years ago by the Romans. They're still here. The network rails stay on for a very long time. That's why I love network companies, and I want to analyze more of them and find entry points. And how do I find entry points on this channel? Well, I tried to look at stocks that are cheap on a growth basis, right? So my metric that I use is EV over GP over revenue growth, so enterprise value growth over gross profit over revenue growth, and I ask the question, how much am I paying for future growth? How much am I paying for that forward growth? And of course, network stocks are usually expensive because that moat is there, right? Take a company like Spotify. Spotify has a huge moat. Take YouTube. YouTube has a huge moat. These network effect type stocks, they have the staying power, and the market knows that, which is why I want to buy a network effect stock that is cheap. I've been on that quest to find a cheap network effect stock for a long time, and this is where Giga Cloud technology comes in. I don't necessarily want to be in the dropshipping business, but I want to be in the cheap network effect stock business, if that makes some sense. And Giga Cloud technology is cheap. It is in the top 5 cheapest in my spreadsheet. It is a little more expensive than HIMS, about the same price as an Oddity Tech if you follow the channel. Price to sell is 0.95. Price to earnings is 7.8. You know, on this channel, I typically don't care too much for PE. I prefer using EV over adjusted EBITDA. EV over adjusted EBITDA here is a 9.2. This is because this company has more cash than debt, namely about 2.5 times more debt than cash. They have more debt than cash is what I meant. Price to forward cash flow. So again, I use EBITDA as my proxy here. I think it's the best to compare because it's calculated the same across companies. But if you look at cash flow, their forward cash flow is predicted to be a 4, and it is a 7 right now. So this company has some operating leverage kicking in, which is what I like, right? It's kind of it's at an inflection point right now. The operating leverage is kicking in for that company. The analysts are predicting that the revenue growth will grow by 40% over the next 12 months. So it also beats my threshold of 30%. And a buyback was approved in early September, $46 million. So that's 5% of the market cap in the form of the buyback. And actually the stock has been kind of on a little bit of a tear throughout September. First time I covered it is probably when I should have bought it. I'm not buying it yet. I haven't bought it yet, and I'll get to that reason in a second. It is because of the US port strikes. I'm really counting on that strike to give me a discounted entry point into Giga Cloud Tech. It's not working today. The stock is way up today. So anyways, what is the business model? So the business model of a drop shipper, or I'm going to call it a B2B marketplace. In this case, their business model is the idea that whenever someone buys a product on, say, Amazon, on say you have your own furniture website on Instagram, fancyfurniture.com, and you promote your furniture on Instagram, and you have an order. Somebody buys your furniture from TikTok Shop or Instagram or whatever website, right? The idea of a dropshipper is that you're not going to be fulfilling the product yourself. You're just going to go straight from the supplier to the end customer, and you are going to avoid the traditional steps of resellers, distributors, and retailers. You're going to avoid that step and undercut the middlemen. You're undercutting the middlemen everywhere. Let me show you that chart right there where where they show it. Where is that chart? That chart is right here. So you're kind of undercutting your middlemen. So you don't have to worry about quality or brand. You don't have to worry about being the retailer. You can just list it on a website and then have physical movement be operated straight from the manufacturer or the supplier of a product to the end customer. I'll show you how the website works in a second. This business got started in furniture, and they have one big furniture brand too that is all exclusively fulfilled by them, by the way. Interesting. This business got started with furniture. And why did it get started with furniture? Well, because furniture has typically a low purchase frequency, and it's got a low velocity. It's tough to establish a furniture brand, and so why does that matter in the space of furniture? Because if you're an actual retailer, or if you sell online and you have your own warehouse, you're gonna have your furniture sit for a very long time and become obsolete or out of trend or out of style. So drop shipping is very useful in the context of furniture because you don't have to pay for stocking that product. You can just go straight from the supplier to the end consumer without going through all of the middlemen. And so all of the shortfall here is removed. The shortfall of a distributor or a reseller is removed when you go drop shipping. So you sell, you have a company, you have the business savvy, you have the style understanding, you run almost a virtual company on top of the logistics of the drop shipper, which is what GigaCloud Tech is. And they've moved beyond furniture. So they do now, kitchen stuff like kitchen sinks, etc. And they do now things like bathroom, things like workout equipment. And the odds are, if you've bought products online, bulky products, but any product really. I mean, even if you buy because there's a lot of drop shipping going out on China, going from China. If you've bought a product online, the odds are it was not delivered by whatever website you use.com. The odds are it was delivered by a fulfillment company like a drop shipper. Enough about the business model. Let me show you quickly the reach. So the key of these marketplaces is to try to kind of grow your sellers, right? In their case, the manufacturers of these products, trying to kind of grow them in sync with the buyers, and they've been doing well on that platform. They've had volume of 907 million in volume over the past 12 months. The volume has grown 64%. Right, and they have a lot of sellers, a lot of new sellers on the platform. The average buyer on the platform spends $165,000 over the past 12 months. 5,000 active buyers, 5,500 active buyers, and 865 sellers. So again, you don't need a one-to-one platform like a Uber, right? This is not a Uber. You need fewer sellers than buyers. So this is not a one-to-one platform, but this is nonetheless a growing a platform is a tough business because you gotta make sure you got enough sellers on the platform to keep the platform compelling. And in order for the sellers to come, you need to have enough buyers on the platform. So you need kind of a chicken and egg type of scenario, what we call the chicken and egg problem, where you need to grow both at the same time. Otherwise, it's not going to work. And this is why this platform, in my view, they seem to be doing pretty well. Let me show you a little bit more of how it works. So this is what I wanted to show you. So they handle first mile, warehouse, distribution, middle mile, and last mile. And oftentimes in the legacy business model, the last mile was often handled by the distributor, by the local store. They would handle the last mile. Well, if you sell online these days, but also if you sell in a showroom and you don't necessarily want to have a truck, etc. Let's say you want to have your furniture store in a mall as opposed to like in a warehouse, well, then you would find the GigaCloud business model very interesting because you don't have to worry about the logistics and the shipping. They are in four countries. They're in Japan, they're in 2 countries in Europe, and they're in the US. And a little bit in Canada too as well. So this is where they are located. This is an example of the website. if you're interested in the platform, if you follow this, you'll find it very similar to like Alibaba's websites and any Chinese fulfillment business. So you can see you can order of a product and you have multiple fulfillment options. This is a B2B interface, so you would be the buyer and you decide, do you want to do drop shipping, right? And if you do drop shipping, it's $37 per unit. The price for this couch is $175, and so maybe you have your own Instagram website and you start promoting that chair and you say, oh, my chair is only $450. Well, boom, there you go. You buy it this to the drop shipper and then you pay the $37 fee, and it's much cheaper. Or you could do cloud wholesale fulfillment. So this is where, if you want to fulfill to Amazon, you can also go through Amazon as the middleman and just send the products to Amazon, and then Amazon will fulfill them for you. So this is in a nutshell the business model. They are not unique in any ways. There's many companies that do that, but they kind of have like a land and expand model from a category standpoint. They started with furniture. They expand to bulky items like workout equipment, kitchen sinks, etc. They've expanded to there. Not saying there's no competition, but as the size of these platforms grows, as the size of a marketplace grows, these are businesses whose moat stays stronger and stronger, and they are harder and harder to disrupt. And GigaCloud Tech is a business that actually has been around for quite a long time. I was reading it being around since 2006, actually. So it's a business that has been around for quite a while and that has some staying power. Am I buying the stock? I will conclude with this. I like the stock. I like what I see. I like that it's a network effect. I love the valuation. Obviously, the valuation is the main reason why I follow this stock. But I don't like that the performance has been, more than 50% in 2 weeks. I wish I had bought it earlier, if that makes some sense. But that's okay, because I'm hoping that this strike here is gonna help me perhaps get an entry point lower into that stock. We don't know how long that's going to last, and so I'm looking at the strike and see how the strike affects this business in the US. The company had fallen really hard on allegations from a short seller who criticized the company. It was going down really hard. Their buyback may also have an effect. We don't know how many shares they're buying back right now, but they issued the buyback in early September, so that may have an effect. The point is, I still find the stock fairly cheap right now, and the performance, surprisingly, has been above the Nasdaq. Over the past 2 years, it's been listed 19% plus up 46%. So good for them. Very cheap stock. If I use my systematic approach to analyzing stocks, very cheap stock, and so I like it. I'm not in it yet. This was not investment advice. This is just entertainment, hoping you were entertained. Please please subscribe, follow me on X, follow me on Patreon. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.